August 12, 2018, Johannesburg, South Africa. A man runs down the road barefoot. His chest is heaving. His face is drenched in sweat. He screams, "They're trying to kill me!" Behind him, headlights blink. A car slows, then speeds up. He leaps over a ditch, falls hard. Branches snap. Blood soaks his pants. He doesn't stop. He can't. The night air is hot, but he's freezing. Dogs bark in the distance. A baby cries in one of the homes nearby. But no one opens the door. No one comes to help. This isn't a robbery. This isn't random. It was planned. Carefully, coldly, and the person behind it? She wore a police uniform. How many people had she done this to? Why didn't anyone notice sooner? And how could someone sworn to protect become a serial killer? This really happened. You can check every detail. Subscribe to @Unbelievable True Story, because monsters don't live in movies. They live next door, and the next story might be about someone just like you. They called her Sergeant Nomia Rosemary Ndlovu. To her co-workers, she was just Rosemary. She smiled a lot. She showed up to work on time. She even brought lunch for people sometimes. No one suspected a thing. But behind that uniform was something no one could have imagined. Because Rosemary Ndlovu wasn't just a police officer. She was a cold-blooded killer. Between 2012 and 2018, 6 people close to her died. Some were stabbed, others were poisoned. Some were beaten. All of them had one thing in common. They were insured under Rosemary's name. And when they died, she collected the money. Thousands and thousands of rands. In total, she pocketed over 1.4 million rand, just over $75,000. Enough to buy clothes, phones, furniture, and even more insurance policies. Let's go back. Back to the beginning. Before the funerals, before the confessions, before the courtrooms. Rosemary worked at the Tembisa South Police Station. She was respected, at least on the surface. People knew she had a large family. She talked often about her sister, her cousins, her boyfriend. But in March 2012, her cousin Witness Madala Homu was found dead. He had been brutally attacked near Olifantsfontein. At first, police thought it was a robbery. Nothing about it seemed unusual, until the insurance claims started to roll in. Rosemary had taken several life insurance policies out on him. Most were forged, using false signatures. The total payout? Nearly 131,000 rand. But nobody asked questions. She was a cop, after all. Next came Zanele Motha, another cousin. In June 2016, Zanele was hit by a car. She was taken to hospital. She survived. But when Rosemary visited her, something changed. Zanele's condition suddenly worsened. Doctors were confused. Internal injuries that weren't there before began to show up. Within days, Zanele died. Rosemary claimed the body. She collected more insurance, over 100,000 rand this time. But what no one saw, or questioned, was that Zanele had multiple insurance policies again, all taken out by Rosemary, and all forged. If there was one person who loved Rosemary, it was her sister, Audrey Ndlovu. She trusted Rosemary completely. They spoke every day. In 2013, Audrey fell sick. Then, one night, she was found dead in her rented room. Cause of death? Unknown. But it didn't stop Rosemary from claiming the body, or from claiming the insurance. 717,000 went straight into her account. To everyone else, it looked like a tragedy. But to Rosemary, it was a payday. By 2018, the body count was growing. A nephew, a lover, a cousin. And then there was Maurice Mabasa, her longtime boyfriend. He worked for the Department of Health, a quiet, kind man. In October 2015, his body was found near a road. He had been stabbed over 80 times. It looked like a robbery gone wrong. But again, the life insurance policies told a different story. Rosemary had taken 13 different policies out on him. She collected 416,000 rand, and the killer was never found, because the killer had worn the uniform. She had walked among the investigators. She had written the reports. And no one looked closer, until she made a mistake. In 2018, Rosemary got bold. Too bold. She approached a man in Bush Buckridge. She offered him money. She wanted him to kill her sister, Joyce, and Joyce's 5 children, all in one night. She promised 100,000 rand, even gave him an advance, but this time, the man had doubts. He told the police, and they set up a trap. The man she tried to hire wasn't just any stranger. He was someone she thought she could control. But instead of doing what she asked, he walked straight into a police station. And this time, they believed him. Police had suspected something for a while. Too many people were dying around her. Too many insurance claims were made, all under her name. So, when the man told them what Rosemary planned to do, they set up a sting operation. It was August 2018. Rosemary agreed to meet the hitmen again, this time in a car. What she didn't know was that the car was wired. Hidden cameras, audio recording devices, everything was set. She got in. She smiled, she laughed. Then she started giving instructions. She wanted her sister Joyce killed first. Then Joyce's 5 children, all under the age of 18. She described how to do it. Start with the mother, she said. Poison the food, or use a pillow. The room fell silent when investigators first watched that tape. A woman in a police uniform planning to wipe out her own family. Like it was nothing. The tape was undeniable. Her voice, her face, her plan, captured in full. On October 7th, 2018, Rosemary was arrested. At first, she denied everything. She said it was a joke, a misunderstanding. She was just venting. But the evidence kept coming. Police went through her bank records, insurance policies, phone logs, text messages. They found dozens of policies, all with her handwriting, all connected to the victims. She'd signed names of relatives who couldn't even write. Some were dead by the time the forms were filed. August 2021. The courtroom in Johannesburg was full. Reporters, victims' families, strangers. Everyone wanted to see the woman behind the headlines. She walked in wearing civilian clothes, still calm, still smiling. But when the judge read the charges, that smile disappeared. She was facing 6 counts of murder, 4 counts of fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, and every bit of it was backed by real, recorded evidence. The hitman she tried to hire took the stand. So did her sister Joyce, the woman she tried to have killed. Joyce couldn't stop crying. "I trusted her," she said. "She used to braid my hair. She called my children her babies. How could she want them dead?" Another witness recalled how Rosemary spoke after one of the deaths. She said, "At least he died quickly. That's better for the money." No one could believe it, but the facts made it undeniable. Investigators presented a timeline of her killings. Each death matched a policy payout. Each victim had policies filed months before they died. She'd wait, watch, plan, and when the time was right, she struck. What shocked people most was how unemotional she seemed. One detective said, "She never cried. Not once. Not even when we showed her the photos. This is a real story. Every fact you hear is public. You can check it yourself. If real-life mysteries leave you breathless, subscribe now to @Unbelievable True Story, because the next truth we uncover might hit even closer to home." The court was tense. People leaned forward. Every time the judge looked up from his notes, the room went still. And there she sat, Rosemary Ndlovu, hands folded, legs crossed, like she was waiting for a boring meeting to end. But the prosecutors weren't bored. They were armed with video, documents, and a timeline of horror. The walls of the courtroom were covered in charts, photos of the 6 victims, insurance policy copies, handwriting comparisons, date stamps. Each photo had a price tag, how much money she made when they died. Cousin Witness Homu, dead, 131,000 rand paid out Sister Audrey Ndlovu, dead, 717,000 rand nephew Brilliant Mashego, dead, 58,000 rand boyfriend Maurice Mabasa, stabbed 80-plus times, 416,000 rand cousin Zanella Motha, poisoned, R 100,000 niece Carol Daphne Ndlovu, dead, R 32,000. The total, over 1.4 million in blood money. And the scariest part? She wasn't done yet. Police found a kill list in her handwriting. It had 7 more names. One was her mother. Another was a fellow officer. She even planned to fake her own death, using a woman's body she hoped to buy from a morgue. The plan? Burn the corpse, fake her ID, vanish, then claim insurance on herself. One officer said she was playing chess, and everyone else was playing checkers, with their lives. During trial, Rosemary did something strange. She'd wave at people in the crowd, smile at the camera. She acted like it was a stage play, not a murder trial. But the moment her sister Joyce testified, the mask cracked. Joyce sobbed uncontrollably. I was her sister. She was supposed to protect me. She carried me on her back when we were kids. Now she wanted to bury my children. Rosemary looked down. No smile, no wave, just silence. In October 2021, Judge Ramaramo Manama read the verdict. It took 5 hours. Each word was heavy. He called Rosemary a danger to society, a calculated, cold-blooded killer, a person without remorse. He said, "You wore a badge. You swore to uphold justice. Instead, you used your position to murder your own family. For money." Then came the sentence. 6 life sentences. Additional 30 years for attempted murder and fraud. No parole possible for 25 years. The courtroom gasped. Some cried, some clapped, but Rosemary just blinked. This is not fiction. Every detail is part of a real case you can verify yourself. She wasn't just a cop. She was a monster in plain sight. She could have worn the same uniform as the one protecting your street. Would you have known? The courtroom had gone quiet. The cameras were turned off. Rosemary was led away in chains. But for the families of the dead, the real sentence had just begun. Joyce Ndlovu sat on a bench outside the court. She held a small photo in her hand, a picture of her daughter, Carol, one of Rosemary's victims. She was just starting school, Joyce whispered. She loved pink and stories about princesses. How do you explain to a child that her aunt wanted her gone? Some of the victims had no parents left, no siblings, just a gravestone, and a number in an insurance file. The money Rosemary collected? Gone, spent on shopping trips, hotel stays, and luxury items. She never built anything with it. She never saved. She destroyed and moved on. When reporters found Rosemary's mother, she was in tears. Her name was Maria Ndlovu. She was in her late 70s. I gave birth to her, she said. I held her first. Now I wish I had never done that. Maria admitted something chilling. I had a bad feeling. She changed over the years. Her heart became cold. I thought maybe it was stress from the job. I never thought it was murder. Police believe Rosemary had started planning her mother's death too. Policies were already drafted. Only timing stood in the way. After the trial, police reopened several unexplained deaths. One was a former colleague who fell downstairs. Another was an ex-boyfriend, buried without an autopsy. In both cases, Rosemary had filed insurance papers. There wasn't enough evidence to charge her, but detectives believe the death toll may be higher than 6. One officer said, "She killed so cleanly, you wouldn't know it was her, and that's the scariest part." Psychologists studied the case. They called Rosemary a high-functioning sociopath. She was charming, well-spoken, respected by her colleagues. She volunteered for community patrols, smiled during school visits, and on her days off, she called funeral homes to ask about unclaimed bodies. She was hunting, one profiler said, looking for her next payout. It didn't have to be family, it just had to be profitable. Her co-workers at the police station were shaken. Some had eaten lunch with her, joked with her, even confided in her. One officer said, "She knew our children's names. She came to our weddings. If someone like her can be this evil, how do we ever trust anyone again?" This is the question viewers keep asking. What if your sister planned to poison your food? What if your best friend already signed an insurance policy in your name? What if the person you call for help is the one watching you die? Rosemary wore a uniform, she held a badge, but behind her smile was a plan that spanned years and blood. This is not fiction. You can search every detail. This is the real story of Nomia Rosemary Ndlovu, and it could have stayed hidden if one man hadn't spoken up. October 2021, South Africa. The gates of Kagosi Mampuru prison closed behind her. The metal echoed. The world outside faded. Rosemary Ndlovu, once a protector, now inmate number 505317. But even in prison, she laughed. A year after sentencing, she agreed to an interview. Her tone? Cool, detached, almost playful. She denied everything, claimed the videos were set up, called her sister jealous, said she was being framed because she was smart. But when asked about the money, she paused, laughed, and said, "Money? People die every day. That's not my fault." The interviewer said they felt cold after speaking to her, like they had been in the room with a ghost, but the ghost was still breathing. Since the trial, South African insurance companies changed their rules. Now it's harder to take out policies on people without consent. Fraud checks became tighter. Payouts take longer. The law now remembers what the system forgot. People can weaponize paperwork. Within the SAPS, South African Police Service, things shifted. Trust among officers fractured. Background checks grew stricter. Mental health screenings increased. But many still ask, how did no one see this coming? She filed over 28 fake claims in 5 years, and no red flag ever stopped her. It wasn't just a failure of trust, it was a failure of systems. Let's go back for a moment. Imagine the man who spoke up, the undercover officer who wore the wire, the one she asked to burn someone alive for a payout. What if he had said yes? What if no one had reported it? What if she had succeeded and faked her own death? Would Rosemary Ndlovu still be out there, walking freely, cashing policies, hiding behind a name that no longer belonged to her? Today, her old house stands empty. The walls inside are quiet, but in the corners are burn marks on the floor, marks from candles used in a failed ritual to hide evidence. One detective said, "It's like the walls want to forget, but they can't." The neighbors don't speak of her name anymore, but every now and then a car drives by and slows down to look. Have you ever known someone who seemed too good, too normal, too rehearsed? What if someone in your life sees you as a policy number? Would you know? This is not fiction. Every fact in this story is public. You can read the court records, the police transcripts, even watch her trial online. This really happened. If this story stayed with you, if you believe in real truth that hides in plain sight, subscribe now to @Unbelievable True Story, because every week we uncover stories that most people never hear, stories about people like Rosemary, who wore a badge and left a trail of graves. Watch the next story on your screen, or dive into our playlist of chilling, true crimes. The next truth we reveal might hit even closer to home.